Hello everybody, RDU here with the second part of my ULDUM review. So, I think we left off at the Brazen Z a lot, and we got some cards to talk about. Let's jump right into it. 1 mana 2-1, whenever you summon a minion, gain +1 attack. It's bad in my opinion because a 1 health minion is not gonna stick on the board consistently for it to get value. Best thing it can do is you go first, you play it on turn 1, and then you play 2-1, yeah, you play just 2-1 drops, and it will have 4 attack, and it hits for 4 in the face. Maybe it will see play if you have like nothing better to do in the Finley deck, in the Sir Finley of the Sands deck. We'll talk about that later. So, it's a bad card, it might still see play, just because you don't have anything better to play, but it's not gonna be a meta breaker. Let's see. What? Sandwasp Queen. Add 2 Balcry. Add 2 2-1 Sandwasps to your hand. And the Sandwasps are 1 mana 2-1s beasts. So 2 mana 3-1 is not the worst, and it adds a 1 mana 2-1, which is also not the worst. The card is playable, I'm just not sure what deck would want to play it. Maybe a deck that has more synergies with 1 health minions? I have no idea. Again, current decks are not gonna play this. If somebody plays the future deck, probably also featuring Sir Finley, because you just need to get to 30 cards. 30 playable cards. Might see play. It's statted decently enough. Salhet's Pride. 3 mana 3-1. Dev Rattle. Draw 2-1 health minions from your deck. Yeah. It will see play in the same deck as those two if somehow Sir Finley of the Sands is good enough to make people play a singleton Highlander, however you want to call it, Aggro Paladin. Other utilizations, it can fetch you Twilight Drake. That's about it. I don't think the card is amazing, but it might see play again. The thing is, if you look at the playable Paladin decks, it's Shirvala and it's Mech Paladin. Those are already defined decks. Those cards are not helping those decks at all. So if those cards are to see play, they have to create their own deck. Their own 1 health synergy deck. And again, Sir Finley of the Sands might offer them that possibility. So the cards are slightly bad, but good enough for a singleton deck. We remember in the past, Reno decks and such were playing pretty bad cards, to be honest. Or some pretty bad cards. And it was like difficult to see and like find out which was the best of the bad cards. Plague of Madness. 1 mana, give yourself and your opponent a 2-2 knife with poisonous. This is basically Weapons Project for Rogue, but actually gives you a good weapon and opponent a good weapon as well. I don't know how to evaluate this card. It could be really good. For example, played as a one-off and you have it at the right time in a metagame where you want to deal with a big minion. But the problem is, if you want to deal with a big minion, don't you just play sap? Isn't that a cleaner way to do things without you having to face tank? Probably. It can be a decent discovery out of the Spell Lackey if you want damage. But it doesn't seem amazing. It would be good in like an aggro rogue where you don't care if your opponent attacks you with the weapon back into your minions. It's still a 1 mana 2-2. Rogue has access to Deadly Poison, but not much else when it comes to weapon buffing. Maybe they're gonna get something else this expansion. This card is very hard to evaluate. I'll say it's not that good right now, but could be played in the future. Maybe even this expansion if it gets more support. I'll discuss it again if they will release some more support cards for it. But it's weird because we didn't have a mechanic like this for Rogue. I just don't think Rogue needs it. They're trying to push Poisonous a lot into Rogue, but Sap is just like better. Maybe they need to Hall of Fame Sap for us to play Poisonous. Anyways. Psycho Pump. 4 mana free one. Again, the 1 health. It's a recurring theme. Summon a random friendly minion that died this game. Give it Reborn. Reborn is the new mechanic. I already discussed it. It resurrects the minion with 1 health the first time it dies. So basically, Redemption, the Paladin secret. It's pretty good. Gives you enough stats. Like, you summon a minion that died, and the minion is gonna come back. Even if, like, a 3 mana free 4 died, playing a 4 mana free 1 that gives you a free 4 and a free 1 once the free 4 dies, that's super good tempo. That's really, really good tempo. I like this card. The question is, what type of deck is going to play this type of card? Maybe we're gonna be able to make and build a priest deck which plays Divine Spirit Inner Fire and also has this guy. The problem with Divine Spirit Inner Fire is it's not good on the 1 health on the Psycho Pump minion, and it's not good if your revived minion also dies. But it's good on your revived minion, so maybe that's good enough for this card to put Priest a little better. I still don't think this card is enough on its own to make Priest playable, but it's a step in the right direction. It's a very powerful card, so we'll see. Plague of Murlocs. Transform all minions into random Murlocs. This is like the Devolve gone mad. It can be good tech for Control Shaman to deal with Mage. Right now, the reason why Control Shaman loses to Mage is because you cannot deal with 2 or 4 giants on turn 5 or 6. The deck is just not able to do that because Hagata Scheme is your best AoE and that doesn't hit for enough. Plague of Murlocs can deal with it. The problem is, if they have a board of like 5 minions and you give them 5 Murlocs, if you hit like one of the synergies, it's very bad. If you don't hit synergies and you give them like 1 once and 2 once, you're okay. So it's a pretty high rolly card. But I think it will see play as a tech in Control Shaman, maybe as a one-off. And if not as a sideboard, let's say in a format like Specialist. But I don't see Control Shaman seeing play just because they got this and another AoE. You cannot really play a deck that only has AoEs because you're going to lose to something that is applying constant pressure like Rogue, or a combo deck like maybe Maligos Druid, who I expect to make a comeback, hopefully, with Elise. I really hope so. So, good cards until now. Like, everything, there's no card that is like total garbage, total rubbish, like never will see play. This is what excites me about this expansion. Everything seems to have potential. Okay, this card is total garbage, but there's very little filler. The power level is pretty high. I feel this expansion is going to have a good impact on the metagame. I really want it to change something in the playable decks. I don't want to play against Bomb Warrior for 1 more year. Armadillo. At the end of your turn, give all town minions in your hand +2/+2. And he's a town himself. 6 mana 4/7 is decent. It's kind of like Sunwalker, but has 2 health over Divine Shield, so it's not amazing. It has a recurring effect at the end of each turn. So if it sticks, you can double dip. I don't expect this to stick. It's kind of like an Emperor. It's rarely gonna stick, right? But if it does, you can really benefit from it. The question is, how many towns does Warrior have? It doesn't have that many. And I was talking about this on my stream. Paladin has a 5 mana card that gives all minions, regardless of them having taunt or not, +2/+2, in a deck that plays a lot of really cheap minions and even plays Galvanizer to reduce their costs. And the deck is still okay, but it's not tier 1. It's borderline tier 2. So, how many towns can Warrior play? And are you just gonna play a deck full of towns just for the Armadillo effect? Let's be real here. This card is never gonna see play. You can quote me on that. This is the Lucent Park of Warrior. Reno the Relicologist. Okay, Blizzard re-released Highlander cards or Reno type cards, basically forcing your deck to have no duplicates in order to get a nice effect. I will evaluate these cards and I'll give my opinion on how I feel about them in general. Let's go. So, Reno, the Mage Singleton card. Mage, by the way, which was in the past one of the decks that could play Singleton. Mage has a lot of tools. They can definitely build a deck of one-offs. What's the payoff? If your deck has no duplicates, deal 10 damage randomly split among all enemy minions. So this is basically Dynamatic twice, but can only hit your opponent's minions and can hit anything regardless of mech or not mech. The effect is really good, you cannot deny that. Is it good enough for you to want to build your entire deck around it? I would say no. Reno decks were usually playing, for example, against aggro, very on the edge, and were barely able to survive until Reno most of the games, and then they play Reno and they just have the super huge swing and they win. I don't see a card that just board wipes being good enough. Even if this card was like 6 mana, kill your opponent's board entirely, just no 10 random damage split, blah blah blah. Just destroy your opponent's board. Would that be good enough to see play? My follow-up question on the other hand is, wouldn't Blizzard have tested that? Like, I expect them to have tested the effect of just destroying the entire board. And they're like, no, that's too good. We need to make it a bit worse. 10 damage randomly split should be good enough, but have some counter playability. So maybe it's still good. The question is, are you really going to cut so many good cards just to include an extra board clear? Does a deck like Cyclone Mage even need board clear when they can just freeze opponent's board and deal with it later? I personally don't expect this card to see play in the beginning, but if they nerf Cyclone Mage, it could start seeing play. And keep in mind, you're probably going to play Luna's Pocket Galaxy in every single Mage deck, Singleton or not. So getting this for 1 mana is pretty sweet. In addition, like imagine you have a Luna turn and your opponent has some minions, and in your Luna turn, with already Luna's Pocket Galaxy being played, you do Reno the Relicologist. I could see that. But I don't know if you're willing to cut the 2-offs for now. If Mage gets nerfed, maybe you're gonna start being more willing to cut your 2-offs to fit this in. So it's not a bad card, but even though it's good, it doesn't really seem justifiable to build a deck around it. Okay. Dino Tamer Bran. If your deck has no duplicate, summon King Crash. So basically for 7 mana you get King Crash, which is 9 mana, and a 2/4. First of all, not a beast. Cannot play it in Master's Call Hunter. We are currently not playing Houndmaster and Houndmaster Shaw, some insanely powerful cards, just so we can play Master's Call. This card needs to be absolutely out of this universe if it wanted to make a cut in that deck. And I don't know if it is. I think I said when I first saw the card that this one is the worst one. And I keep my opinion. It's probably the worst out of the Singleton cards. Just, why would Hunter even want to cut the consistency of having 2 animal companions, 2 kill commands, just to play a King Crush on 7? I don't see the upside, basically. Unless they're gonna release some cards in the future that are going to make this worth it, I just don't see it. I really don't. Maybe Hunter is gonna have so many good cards they can just play a deck of Singletons, and then it's okay. Like, King Crush on 7 is pretty good. It's kind of like, think of Janna Lai when it's summoned Rag. Summoning King Crush is kind of like summoning Rag. You get a 2/4 over a 4/4, but you get it consistently. Like, you always get it. You don't have to ping your opponent a million times. So I can see it working, but it's a super big stretch, and I don't think it will happen. Now, these are the best 2 ones. This being the best in my opinion, this being the second best. So Elise the Enlightened. First of all, 5 mana 5/5, good stats to play it on your own. You don't really mind to. If your deck has no duplicates, duplicate your hand. People are suggesting you can play this mostly in decks that actually have duplicates, that want to draw the entire deck and then duplicate the combo. The realistic ones, I'm not going to go into the Knife Juggler, Infinite, blah, 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 because you don't have enough time to pull that off. The realistic combos that you can go for are getting 4 Nomis, basically drawing your entire deck, and then doubling Nomi and doubling Floop. And then you can Nomi, into Floop, into Floop. Seems nice. Technically, you can go even longer than that. You can Elise, and then you can Floop the Elise. Then you get more Nomis. But I don't know. When are you gonna need all of those cards? And when are you gonna have the luxury of time of playing like 10 Nomis in a row? I guess we'll find out. So other than Nomi Druid, basically Auctioneer Druid like Hakar Druid used to be back in the day, with the Nomi and the Elise, people are suggesting Malygos Druid. And I can see Malygos Druid happening. At the same time, it already has good enough tools to perform. It has Florist, it has Floop, it has Alexstrasza still in the game. Malygos Druid has good tools. It has Geppetto. The reason Malygos Druid is not good is because it's too slow compared to every single meta deck. I don't think doubling the damage that the deck is able to do with a card like Elise is helping the deck. The deck needs more survivability. The deck needs more cards like Bees. So if Druid is going to get a couple more good cards, maybe I can see Malygos Druid seeing play. If not, Nomi Druid could be good, but I don't know against what. Like, is it good enough to beat an aggro deck? That's what we need to find out. But this card has a lot of potential. 5 mana, 5/5, you can just play it on its own and you don't really mind if you miss. And I hope it works. I kind of want non-token Druid back in the meta game. Like, Druid was way too strong for a lot of time with Ultimate Infestation and Spreading Plague. But now without those cards, it seems very flimsy. And it seems all in on the token Druid strategy of just make board, buff board, kill opponent. I want Druid to be more than that. I want Druid to be a strategical class. Malygos Druid was one of my favorite decks of all time. And I want something like that to be back in Hearthstone because it was very difficult to play it and it was very rewarding to play it well. So I hope Elise is good. Elise is one of those cards that I think is going to be healthy if it actually works out. The one issue with running a deck with duplicates and Elise is consistency. In the beginning, when Reno was first printed or made or created, whatever, people started by playing duplicates. Then they were like, okay, we're gonna just duplicate very important cards. And then they were like, no, we don't duplicate anything. We play only singletons. But again, this is different for Elise because you can just draw your entire deck with Druid, Auctioneer stuff. We'll see. But it's exciting. Now, we go from exciting to scary with Sir Finley of the Sands. 2 mana, 2/3. If your deck has no duplicates, discover an upgraded hero power. This is on the power level of Keleseth, if it's working. Upgraded hero power are the hero powers that you get from Baku. How many of those are aggressive? Well, the Druid one is good. The Hunter one is good. The Rogue one is good. The Paladin one is good. The Warlock one, I don't know. Actually, can you even discover the Paladin one? I don't know. You might not be able to discover the Paladin one. Maybe you're not. Then you lose one of the good ones. The Priest one you don't really want. The Warrior one you don't really want. The Shaman one you definitely don't want. The Warlock one is questionable. And am I missing a class? Let me make sure. So, Druid is good. Hunter is good. Oh, Mage one. Mage one is good as well. So the only ones that you don't want to hit are Priest, Shaman, and Warrior. There's one permutation where you hit all 3 together. Outside of that, the deck is going to function decently. And I guess in the worst permutation, you just pick the Shaman one and go for token game plan. The Warlock hero power is good, right? You just draw cards. Actually, the Warlock one is not that good. The Warlock one, I think, is... You just don't take damage, but you still have to pay 2 mana. Ugh. It's probably not that good. Anyways. If people can build an aggro deck with this bad boy in it, they will. Because basically you're playing an odd deck with one-offs. So the condition is not to play odd cards, the condition is to play one-offs. I feel like this could work. This could give Paladin another way of playing. And it's scary. Also, this coming out on turn 2 is also super scary. I'm a bit worried. I kind of hope this card is not good. Because I think if it's good, it's not going to be the control decks playing it. It's going to be aggro. We'll see. Very powerful card though. If not now, maybe in the future. Expired Merchant. Battlecry, discard your highest cost card, dev rattle, add 2 copies of it to your hand. Very good value play. But the problem is that Warlock doesn't really have a good way to use it. Like, I'm thinking of Sea Giant. I'm thinking of Gul'dan in Wild. But in Standard, there's nothing really that you want to do this on. Right now, also, the only viable Warlock seems to be Zoo. This is not helping Zoo. And this is not helping create new archetypes either. So probably not that good. Also, you get really punished. If you discard the card, your opponent obviously is going to see it. And they have a silence. Then you're... Paladin Quest, making mummies. Play 5 reborn minions. The reward is a hero power that summons a 2/2 copy of a friendly minion on the board. I don't think it's random. I think you target what minion you want, right? Because otherwise, otherwise it would specify random friendly minion. The hero power is definitely good. Is Reborn Paladin going to be a thing? I don't know. I'm thinking already of Reborn Singleton with Sir Finley and the quest, but we don't even have enough Reborns to make Reborn Paladin a thing. I don't know if we have enough Reborns to make Reborn One of Paladin a thing. So even though Finley appears on the card art of the Making a Mummies card, I don't think they're gonna work well together unless they're gonna give us like 20 Reborn cards or something crazy like that. So the reward is good, but it's not really amazing. 2 mana to summon a 2/2 minion is a very good hero power. But it's a very good hero power if you start with it on turn 1. This, you're gonna get it very late. Ideally, you should cast the hero power on minions that have Death Rattles or Reborn. Reborn is basically Death Rattle, summon the minion with 1 health. Now that I think of it. I don't know, I don't see this being that good. I think it's one of the weaker quests. But we haven't seen Reborn minions. So after I see all the Reborn minions, I'm probably gonna come back to this. One of the Reborn minions that they showed is a very good card. 1 mana 1/1, Reborn Murloc. This is so good. It's basically Possessed Villager, but he's Murloc in both iterations. He's a Murloc 1 mana 1/1, and then when he dies, he summons another 1 mana 1/1. Another 1/1. It's very good. These type of cards have always been pretty good, and I'm sure Murloc decks will love to play it. Something like an Aggro Shaman deck that already exists on the ladder, playing the minimalistic package of Murloc Tightcaller, and then the Underbelly, the 2 mana 2/3, and then the 1 mana 2/1. Basically, Shaman plays the Shaman Murlocs, and then they play the neutral 1 mana 1/2 that gets buffed by 1 attack. I'm always bad with card names, but the card names are pretty complicated and like similar anyway, so what I'm saying is this card might join in the staples package of cheap Murlocs that you play in your deck. Seems good. Very good card. I like it. Maybe aggro decks are just gonna play it in general. It's not bad. I guess aggro decks have Argent Squire, but for example, a Sir Finley of the Sands aggro deck, maybe he's gonna play that and Squire, if you have enough space. We'll see. Hidden Oasis. Summon a 6/6 Ancient with Taunt. Or restore 12 health. 6 mana 6/6 Taunt for 6 is not good. It's not the worst, but it's not what you want. Restore 12 health. Super situational. Now, when you think of choose ones, when you look at choose ones, you should evaluate them based on the Druid quest. Because I think the Druid quest is most likely going to make those choose one cards shine. The problem is, because one of the effects sometimes doesn't give you anything, the restore 12 health part, I don't see this as one of the good choose one cards. You want cards that summon a minion or summon a minion so that you summon 2 minions when you have the quest completed. Or summon a minion and or destroy a minion or draw a card or something like that. Like, you want an effect that is always good. When you have 2 effects that are always good or decent, then getting both of them is like an overload of value, which might make it worth it for you to play Quest Druid. This card might not even make it in the Quest Druid deck. Probably it won't. I would be very surprised if it does. Unless further synergies are gonna be revealed. It's one of the bad choose one effects, and you don't want it. Now, 2 Hunter cards have been shown, and they're pretty good. 6 mana, 6/9, Beast. Summon a minion from your opponent's hand and attack it. This is basically Dirty Rat, but battles with the opponent's card. Let's say you summon a 3/3. You're gonna have a 6 mana, 6/6, and you deleted 1 card from your opponent. This card is really good. I think every Hunter deck is gonna play this. The only problem is that it's a 6 mana card. Hunter likes to play low curve. Are they gonna raise their curve just to play the Wild Bloodstinger? The card is really good though. It's a really good tempo card on 6. It is really good at stopping combos. It can get countered, let's say by Mage. You don't want to summon a Giant. Even though it doesn't die the Giant, you don't want to summon a Giant. Or maybe you do. Yeah, no, you don't. Card is good. Will it sit play? I don't know. It's expensive and Hunter doesn't like to play with expensive cards. Comparing this to Savannah Highmane, and Savannah Highmane is not seeing play. That's the thing, Hunter likes to play cheap. Cheap. We'll see. I'm really curious. And another epic card, another beast, 6 mana 5/5, Scarlet Webweaver. Reduce the cost of a random beast in your hand by 5. So basically, if you have a 5 mana beast and this, you spend 6 mana to get your 5 mana beast and the 5/5 beast. So you get the 5/5 beast for 1 mana if you have a 5 mana or more beast. Seems worth it. The thing with Hunter is it already likes playing the cheap minions, but the good part about the cheap minions is you can drop them very quickly. And then you have your Thunder Rhino, let's say, or your Stranglethorn Tiger to just like push some damage. Maybe you can make a Hunter deck with super cheap minions, and then you have double Scarlet Webweaver and double Wild Bloodstinger, double Tundra Rhino, let's say. And you can do some combos between those cards. You empty your hand and gain generate tempo from your 1-drops. And then when you come to turn 6, you just go Scarlet Webweaver, Thunder Rhino, push 7 to the face. That's already a great combo. The problem is consistency. What if you have in your hand Webweaver and the Bloodstinger and Thunder Rhino? Obviously you want Webweaver with the Thunder Rhino. What if you hit this with a discount? Not amazing. Maybe people are gonna come to a conclusion that it's better to run this with like Stranglethorn Tiger and Thunder Rhino exclusively so that you have more consistency. But what if, for example, you have 2 Scarlet Webweavers and you just hit the other Scarlet Webweaver? I guess that doesn't happen very often, so you should be fine. But I'm saying this card definitely has potential, probably more than the other one. And the other one has a lot of potential. This one, the Wild Bloodstinger. And again, these mechanics are interesting. It's something that we didn't see before on the classes, so it's hard to predict. I'm doing my best here. I know I'm a bit vague. I'm saying about a lot of cards that they have potential and stuff like that. But if I see a card that is bad, I'll say it is bad. When I see a card that is good, I'm going to try to give my best reasons for why it's good. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll do more reviews once they show more cards. And again, this expansion is pretty exciting so far. I really like the power level, and I really like the direction of the expansion. I'm just looking forward to more cards, and once all the expansion is out, I might even start theory crafting some decks. So if you enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe for more content. Stay tuned, and I wish you a great day.